The following program contains disturbing materials that may not be suitable for some resellers. Viewer discretion is advised.
I recently had my first Whatnot live auction, and I got to tell you, I did better than I thought I'd do. Now, granted, I do have a social media presence on YouTube. Really don't have much of one on Instagram, Facebook, or anything like that. But I got to tell you, it went better than I thought. And this video is going to kind of tell you about my experience on the platform after waiting almost 2 years, guys. I waited 2 years from the time I signed up, went through the Whatnot orientation, and at the time I was looking at it like, I don't know. I didn't even know if it was going to be a thing the way it is now. Whatnot is a lot more popular than it was when I signed up. And I thought, you know what? I have merchandise that could, instead of throwing it out in a yard sale, maybe benefit from putting up on Whatnot rather than on eBay. And on eBay, I had some items that were slower selling, like a lot of hats. I had about 49 hats that I was sitting on that I had listed on my second eBay store, and I had them priced reasonably, but they weren't going anywhere. And I think it's because of the saturation of hats in general on eBay as it is. So I thought, you know what? I've been preaching to everyone that watches my channel about getting out of your comfort zone. And if I'm not willing to do that, then why would you? So, as a way to kind of do that, to get out of my comfort zone, I decided, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to finally do this. And I picked a day that really didn't coincide with a lot of other stuff. My main business is selling on eBay, and I didn't want it to interfere with my daily routine and my daily vibe. And I wanted to dedicate enough time so that I could actually pull this off and make it work. Now, want to give a quick thank you to my wife Jenna, and of course my buddy Archie Biscuit Butt, who has done a Whatnot before and decided he wanted to come out and just help me through the process. So I did this on Saturday. They were both there. We had my audience from Flippin' Ain't Easy channel. A lot of the live stream folks came over. And with also the help of Paul Philly Flipper, he also did a raid. Raid is where you have your audience from one channel on Whatnot. After they're done with their auction, he sends them over to my channel. And we already had quite a few people, but I think the viewer count, we had it up over 70, which is pretty darn good, especially for your first one. And I can tell you that we sold, what was it, 49 hats, and well, actually 47 hats. I gave two away and 8 squishmallows. And in that particular show, we made $377 in sales. And I honestly don't know more than that as far as what I took from the show, because it was one of those things where it looks like Whatnot doesn't really have a place or a way to break down. It shows you in the ledger and it shows you in the overview. I believe it's called the overview on Whatnot, where what you've made, or actually what you made but not what you've taken. So what after the fees and all that. So unless you want to do math and try to figure it out on your own, there's really not a way to get a real quick snapshot of how you did after they take their fees and all that. So I'm assuming I made over $300, but I'm not even sure how much I paid for shipping, because I did do 2 giveaways. And I'm assuming that the buyer paid for the shipping part, which is why I never saw anything. So I will be very, very shocked if I make anything less than 300. But the fact that you can't really see the type of data that I'm used to seeing on eBay, the breakdowns and a quick snapshot of things, is somewhat concerning for me. So while my overall experience on the platform was one where I made more than I thought I'd make. It was smoother than I thought it would go. Um, it left me wishing that there was more as far as more gratification. I think a lot of people want to know, like, wow, how did I do? What did I make? And it just wasn't there for me. So that's the biggest complaint that I had. Also, shipping was kind of convoluted. I had to go online to YouTube and check to see if they had somebody that made a video on how to do your shipping. And I don't even know if I did it right, to be honest with you. I had one person that bought 20 items, and I had to go in and find that there's like 3 different transactions for them with multiple items in each one. And I was able to link them and combine them. So I believe I was able to do it right. But I guess we're going to see. And again, not being able to see the data to kind of confirm, like, ooh, I spent too much. Maybe I had to pay out of pocket for labels. There's just no way to see. And if there is, please put that information down below. I did look at the ledger, and the ledger doesn't show a lot. I received tips from like 3 different people, and the only money that I have in that account is just from the tips. So nothing from the actual sales at all. And I understand that as a new seller that you have to wait like 3 days after the item arrives. So that's fine. I don't care. This was merchandise that was sitting around anyway. Um, Takeaways from the show, I got to tell you, we had a lot of fun. And if you want to check out the link that I'll put in the description box down below, you can go on and check the whatnot auction for itself. And I went into this with low expectations on the sales, but I knew that I could only do what I can control, and that was just have fun with it. And that's what we did. Archie and we did a chest bump anytime we had a sale over $5.
If it goes over 20, we do a tortilla challenge.
All right, ready?
Oh my god.
All right.
And then he started getting really creative, saying, "Hey, well, why don't we, do bare belly bumps?" Believe it or not, we did bare belly bumps when we sold over 20. And then he's talking about something about a tortilla challenge. You guys just have to watch it. Maybe as I'm talking here, I'll put a visual, if I can, of what it looked like.
What is going on now? Easy! Jesus!
Okay, we're done with this. I actually smacked it with my hand in the tortilla.
Yeah, the whole idea of a tortilla challenge was to fill our mouths with water and each take a tortilla. He would then slap me with the tortilla in hopes that I would spit out the water. And in turn, I'd slap him with the tortilla, hoping the same. Well, he did his thing. No, it didn't do anything to me, but it was my turn. And there's a little bit too much hand behind the tortilla, and I slapped him pretty good. So you'd have to watch it and check it out. But ultimately, we had a good time. And I think one key takeaway that I have, one thing that I did before this auction, and I recommend anyone who's doing an auction to do this as well, spend a good hour and search for similar items on Whatnot that you're selling and watch how people are selling them. And watch different ones. See how people are presenting their items. And one thing that was comforting to me was watching someone who was just seasoned as heck, had good ratings, and it looked like they just had no clue how to really sell an item. It was pretty sad to watch, but it gave me confidence that if they can do it, they actually were making some sales here and there. Well, then it told me that I can do it. And that means that you can do it as well. If you're on the fence of maybe making the jump over to Whatnot, what do you have to lose? Maybe your time, but it's worth doing. And yes, you can say, well, you have a social media following. That's why you had the success you did. And I agree. But that doesn't mean you can't do it if you don't. It's just going to be a little harder road. And you're going to have to be willing to know that your first 4 or 5 shows are going to be slow. You're going to have a few people popping in, and you may not sell as many items as you'd like. But as you grow And the way you grow is don't be the same boring reseller person that's on these shows. Infuse some kind of personality in these shows. And going forward, I plan on doing one or two here in the future per month, maybe. The problem with me is I just don't have the type of merchandise or the kind of stock that would sustain doing really any more than once or twice a month, if that. And does that mean that I go and source differently? Well, I really don't need to. I'm doing really well on eBay. And I just feel like this for me is just an avenue to try to move stock that I come across that I don't either like. If I buy a large lot of clothing or a large lot of hats, get a good deal on them. I have a way, based on experience now, a way to move these. And maybe the next time I won't sell all my items, but even if I sold half of the items that I list, I know that I'm creative enough that I can lot things out. People like to buy in lots. So it's not just selling one item at a time. You can sell multiples. People do like deals. So if you're offering items the same size in lots, that certainly does work very well. And it's not just clothing. You can sell all kinds of different merchandise, electronics, sports cards, shoes, you name it. But you go and do the research ahead of time just to see if others are selling the type of item you're selling, and to see how they're doing it, and do emulate it. Now, I did do a couple giveaways, and I felt like these were probably the middle of the pack hats. So they weren't my best hats, they weren't the worst ones, and it made, in my mind, it worthwhile for people to kind of stick around to watch the live, watch the craziness that's going on. And I think that kept people in the show. I also really think that keeping it going, not spending too much time on the comments. Yes, you want to keep engaged with your audience and what they're saying, but I would say don't spend any more than, say, a minute or two between listings, because you want to keep it going, especially if you have a lot of items. You don't want to be there all day. It took me an hour and a half to get through the 50 some odd items, which I think is pretty good. Yes, address what people are saying, but keep the show going, right? Because maybe that item you have listed, people don't want to wait all day for. And what I did was 15-second auctions, which means that they had 15 seconds to bid. And if there was a bid, it extended it by maybe 6 to 10 seconds or whatever it was, until no further bids came in. And then it yielded a winner. And then we celebrate, because it's a way to, sales is about making people feel good about their purchase. Okay. Whether it sells for the minimum, which we started ours off at $2. That's because of the fees involved in the sale. We sell it for $2. At least we're making something back, or at least our initial investment on these hats back. And, you just want to keep the show going and keep people feeling good about their purchase and excited that they just got a good deal. And you're constantly, as the timer's going on that auction, so you kind of give it 20, 30 seconds to initially show what you're selling, and then you run the auction, and you're continually showing and talking about the item, fully focused on selling that item, the key points and the key features of whatever you're selling, the things that you like about that item, and share that with the audience as you're showing them.
The Zion?
Is that
That is the Zion. Yep.
Okay. So we're going to do the Zion National Park. This is from Zion National Park.
such a beautiful park?
And
John found it on the ground out when he was hiking.
Yeah.
No.
No,
Yeah, because John doesn't hike. Duh.
No, the guy was passed out.
John only hikes on the
No,
strip.
the guy was passed out on the trail, and this was laying next to him, so I just picked it up. But
Typical
Zion National Park Foundation. So this is authentic.
He had this weird red stuff
trail
coming out of his
I don't know if it's trail worn. It looks really nice though. I don't see any wear marks on it at all, to be honest with you.
And you keep doing that until all bids are done. Congratulate, find a spot for it, and then move on to the next thing. And you just keep that flow going, and you can get through quite a bit of merchandise. We made $377 in an hour and a half. And I think I'm into those items only for less than $70 for all of it, based on what I bought it for. Maybe even less than that, because the hats I did buy in bulk at a pretty good deal. So that's my video for you guys. Anyone who's sold on eBay for quite some time could benefit from adding this to their arsenal. Never really have all of your eggs in one basket. That's what we talk about cross-listing. By the way, if you're stuck on eBay Island and you're only there, eBay can take your account away tomorrow. And where would you be? And so by going to a site like Whatnot, to have an avenue you can go to as a supplemental way to make money, and even cross-list. And I've partnered with TreeCat. TreeCat, the link's down below in the description. They are working on building a payment processor for their service, but currently it's free, and you can go there and give it a shot. They have a way to move your items from eBay to Mercari, eBay to Posh, Posh to Mercari, Mercari to Posh, and vice versa. And what's good about it is if you make a sale on any of those sites, it deletes it from your other sites, so you're not running the risk of making a duplicate sale. And they're adding features that other cross-listers aren't even trying to tackle. They're going to be working on a Poshmark tool that allows it to automatically share your items with your followers, which some people are paying over 20, I think it's 25 bucks for Posher VA and to do that service. So that in itself would save you. And once they start charging for the service, they're going to charge 50 cents per sale because of all the tools that they're giving you, like the delist feature. They are coming out with an end item sell similar feature. They call it a delist relist feature, but it allows you to say, on this item, every week, I want it to end item / sell similar to get that new item boost on that listing. You could do it every day. You could do it once every month. Up to you. eBay doesn't even have that feature. So to have this built in, this automated process built in to, some would say, game the system, but guess what? You got to play the game. eBay's playing their game with you to collect their fees, and why not play the game to collect the sales? So click on my link down below for TreeCat and give them a try while it's still free. And once they start charging, at that point, you'll have to decide, is this service worth it to you? And I happen to think it would be, but you'll never know until you try. And the same thing goes with Whatnot. You're never going to know until you try. And if you want to, maybe you haven't signed up for TreeCat, I mean, not TreeCat, but Whatnot, I also have a link down below for that. And if you want to sign up as a seller, use my link and get started. I believe there's still an orientation. It's like 30 minutes. And then you're off to the races. Even if you haven't even used Whatnot, try them out as a seller. Use the link down below for that too. Get $15 free on your first purchase. I think that's excluding shipping. You just got to pay for shipping. But why not try to buy from there before you try to sell on there? It only makes sense. And to see if it's something that you would want to do. But you're never going to know until you just do it. And sometimes one of the shortcomings many people have, including myself in my life, is simply not taking calculated risks, staying in your comfort zone, and just kind of riding that wave. And sometimes that wave ain't big enough. And if you're happy doing what you're doing on eBay Island, or whatever you're currently doing, keep doing it. But if you're looking for a way to build extra revenue, an extra revenue source that seems to be working for a lot of people, well, check it out. Check out Whatnot and see. And I want to know how you think. If you've done it before, you've made sales on Whatnot, maybe you're just a buyer on Whatnot. Tell me your experiences down below. Like I said, I'm not an expert. This is no way, shape, or form a video from an expert. I'm not. I did it one time. And I bought before on Whatnot. And I haven't had any bad issues or any issues with sellers, any issues with the platform, except the reporting. I have a problem with that. So if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and of course, hit that notification bell in case you want to be notified when we go live, which we do pop-up lives. And we do lives on Monday, Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Figuring out ways to make money in this climate. The economy is not great, guys. But figuring out how to do that is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. I want you guys to have an excellent rest of your day, and we will talk to you very soon. Take care.